It is a National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, also known as Orange Shirt Day, Friday the 30th of September 2022. And, one of the major emphasis of Truth and Reconciliation Day is the abuse of children in residential schools. All forms of abuse, including sexual abuse, and even killing some of them from what we hear, so murder. But sexual abuse, non-sexual abuse, even if there had been no sexual abuse and other physical abuse, just taking children away from their parents to essentially indoctrinate them into Christianity, and Canadian Anglo-Saxon culture, shall we say, it was an abuse, a form of abuse. It's almost kidnapping, really was kidnapping in a sense. So it is my understanding that a contingent of Montreal Unitarians will be going to today's protest that begins at Mount Royal at 1 o'clock, so about an hour and maybe 15 minutes from now. Yet Montreal Unitarians have been ignoring my protest that includes protest against the sexual abuse of children and the cover-up and denial of the sexual abuse of children by the Unitarian Universalist Association and a whole lot of individual Unitarian Universalists, including pretty well every Montreal Unitarian who ignores my protest. If I'm protesting against child sexual abuse and the cover-up and the denial of child sexual abuse by the Unitarian Universalist Association and so on, and Montreal Unitarians just ignore that protest for years, even decades, they're complicit. They're part of the problem. They're not doing anything to ensure that sex abuse of children is properly addressed, and also they're not doing anything to speak out against the cover-up and denial, even if they're not actually denying it themselves, and some of them are. Most notably, Sue Montgomery has brazenly lied about all forms of sexual abuse in the Unitarian Universalist religious community, but certainly includes what the Unitarian Universalist Association's Canadian attorney has aptly described as such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. So Sue Montgomery has very, very publicly denied the sexual abuse of children in the Unitarian Universalist religious community. If I remember correctly, her exact words on CBC As It Happens on June 14th of 2019 were there has been no such sexual abuse. I've looked into it. So she's essentially claiming that she personally looked into sexual abuse in the Unitarian Universalist religious community, including the sexual abuse of children, which absolutely does exist, and found nothing. There's basically telling thousands and thousands of Canadians, there's nothing there. Robin doesn't know what he's talking about. There's no sexual abuse. There's no cover-up. And this is not the first time that Sue Montgomery had told a journalist that, there's no sexual abuse, there's no cover-up. She'd done it years earlier. But this is the first time she went on air and said it herself publicly. All of her previous lies had essentially been told in private to journalists, basically telling journalists the same thing. There's no sexual abuse, there's no cover-up, I've looked into it, there's nothing there, don't believe Robin Edgar. That's essentially what happened. She definitely did this with Stéphane Giroux of CTV News in January of 2018, because he told me. Stéphane Giroux told me that Sue Montgomery had told him There's no sexual abuse. There's no cover-up. I've looked into it. And when he did, I told him, well, if Sue Montgomery told you that, she totally discredited herself as a investigative journalist. And you should do your own research. Look into it yourself. And he could have done his own research by asking me some questions, like, what do I know about sexual abuse in the Unitarian Church? What do I know about the cover-up and the denial of sexual abuse in the Unitarian Universalist religious community? But he did no such thing. And he then, or CTV Montreal, because it probably wasn't him who wrote it. I don't know. I mean, it could have been him. It could have been any number of other people at CTV Montreal. They, as part of their online written report on the internet, wrote, no such crimes, let alone a cover-up, have been proven in court. I believe that's an exact quote. So they're saying, oh, there's no sex crimes in the Unitarian Universalist religious community that have been proven in court. No cover-up has been proven in court. Well, yeah, maybe the cover-up hasn't been proven in court yet. I think it will be soon. But certainly sex crimes committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, known as religious educators, and other lay leaders have absolutely been proven in court. And Unitarian Universalist ministers and Unitarian Universalist religious educators, also known as Sunday school teachers, and other leading Unitarian Universalist lay people have gone to jail for years for committing sexual abuse of children of one kind or another. But that includes repeated rape of children in the case of Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell and the case of Stephen Craig Bullite, both of whom essentially adopted children, or at least took them under their wing, as their guardian, and proceeded to use them as sex slaves for years. And I have a feeling those aren't the only two Unitarian Universalists who have done that. They're just the two that we know about, that got caught, that were convicted and went to jail. So that is that. I see a car pulling up here. It might be a Montreal Unitarian. I think Montreal Unitarians may have already left the building, as it were, and gone to the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation protest, which begins at 1 p.m. in Mount Royal. What do we got here? It's somebody coming along, but I think they're not. I don't think it's anyone to do with the church. So, anyhow, they're nicely staying on the outside of my chalk slogan here. So yes, all children matter. Unitarians cover up and deny child sexual abuse. And the all children matter is actually a slogan used by Indigenous people regarding the issue of the abuse of children in residential schools. And as I said, even if there was no physical abuse, even if there was no sexual abuse, just taking the children away from their parents is a very traumatic thing for both the children and the parents, and the extended families. That is abuse of children and indeed adults in and of itself, just taking them away. So we'll take a look at the other side here. We're just about done here. I just wanted to record the 3 slogans that I put down and probably upload this video sooner rather than later, which is one of the reasons I'm using my phone to record it. It's easier to upload right away when I do it from my phone. I could even do a live stream, but I didn't want to do a live stream because I think the quality of the video might be better if I do it independently of a live stream. Might be less compression on it. So that's it. Again, September 30th, 2022, National National Truth and Reconciliation Day. Excuse me. Got a little frog in my throat there. So that's it. Dear, I got a bit of a frog in my throat there. So we're going to head off to the protest, but I did want to put these slogans down in the hopes that Montreal Unitarians would see them when they come out of the church to go to the protest, but they might have already left. So, you know, maybe some of them will see them when they come back, and certainly the public will see them. I mean, the public have already seen them and even made some comments. So that happened while I was drawing them and I wasn't recording, but essentially some members of the public were you know, wondering what it was about, and I let them know. So that's it for now. I'm going to go to the protest and document it as I do. I've been documenting all kinds of protests in Montreal for quite some time now, and I wouldn't miss this one. So that's it for today. Again, September 30th, 2022, Friday, and National Truth and Reconciliation Day, as I said.